As Sierra Leone prepares for the population and housing census, Statistics Sierra Leone, in partnership with UNFPA in Sierra Leone, a team of international experts has arrived in Sierra Leone yesterday to evaluate the country's readiness for its landmark 2025 population and housing digital census. A delegation, which is made up of specialists from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, the U.S. Census Bureau, and UNFPA New York, aims to ensure that Sierra Leone is fully prepared to conduct the nation's first ever digital census, which Start Sierra Leone has argued is a crucial event that will shape the country's future in terms of development planning. Our man Issa Bangura was there and filed in this report.
The official welcome ceremony held at Newbrook Fields Hotel in Freetown was a reflection of the significance of this census. The 5-day mission, which runs from January 13th to 17, 2025, will assess the various elements necessary for successful census, from logistical planning to technological infrastructure. Accurate population data, many have argued, is essential for not only managing resources, but also tracking key development indicators and achieving sustainable development goals.
Today, with the assistance of UNFPA, we have a high-level mission of the United States Census Bureau, Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, UNFPA HQ, with the objective of providing technical support to Start Sierra Leone for a proper preparation of the 2025 population and housing census. During this mission, a review will be done in respect of preparation of critical census components like the cartographic mapping, the pilot census, the logistics, the public sensitization, the data capture, transmission and security, to name a few. At the end of the mission, strengths and weaknesses will be identified for support by government and donor partners.
During the welcoming ceremony, a presentation on the assessment mission was done by representatives of both UNECA and US Census Bureau.
International standards to the local situation. How do we apply all those international standards to the Sierra Leone situation so that they conduct a census which is credible, which is accurate, and which is timely?
Census is for the entire country. Census requires the participation and the coordination between all the sectors of society, and it is for the benefit of your country.
The presence of the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Kenya Bale, and Chegnoba, Minister of Information and Civic Education, at the event reinforced the government's commitment to ensuring that the 2025 census achieves its objectives.
In the government of Sierra Leone, census is a civic imperative. A census is about our identity. It's who we are. Because you count what you treasure, and what you treasure is important. This is who you are. This is what we do. This is what is informing all the decisions that we will make as a country. And we're really intent on making sure that this 2025 census is owned by the citizens of Sierra Leone. In our Ministry of Information and Civic Education, we've developed a strategic plan for this year, and I can tell you that the primary national agenda we have for this year is to deliver on the goal that I just outlined, that our citizens understand fully and take the lead, the ownership, and that we conduct a successful census process. So
these series of meetings, this particular meeting that has been mentioned, is a milestone that we really are going to kick off this exercise proper. I'm certainly mindful that the government of Sierra Leone, through my ministry, cannot effectively plan the country's resources without a census. The results of the census will be used as a critical reference to ensure the equity and distribution of wealth, government services nationwide, amongst the various sectors, of course, prioritizing the government's Big Five game-changing agenda.
As Sierra Leone prepares for this crucial population survey, the work of the international team over the next few days will be pivotal in ensuring that the 2025 census is a milestone in the country's digital transformation and development planning. Issa Bangura, AYV News, Freetown.
Thanks to AYV's Issa Bangura. So this morning, to continue the discussion in the studio, we have been joined by Samuel Ansumana. He is Director of Communications and Public Relations Statistics, Sierra Leone. Good morning, Samuel. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Fabian. Good morning.
So the essence why these guys came was to validate, to assess. How prepared did they say you are for the census?
At this point in time, we cannot tell. It's a one-week mission. It started from Monday. We actually had what they call tools for assessing statistical capacity. We had that administered yesterday by the team from the U.S. Census Bureau, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and UNFPA in New York. We had that done yesterday. So it is going to be at the exit meeting that we'll have on Friday. Okay. That they'll tell us exactly where we stand and what has to be done. But it is an assessment that is being done on all aspects of the census, from communication or publicity to data dissemination to sampling to questionnaire content, to procurement, to operations or field operations, put it that way. Every aspect of the census, every aspect that we are going to do, they are assessing to ensure that we are on track, and at the end of the day, they'll provide the requisite feedback to the government and us as to where we stand in conducting the census. And then the areas where they can now come in with support, based on where they feel like we are not too good on, they'll come in with the requisite support. So it's not just to do an assessment, it's also a support mission. Yeah.
Let's talk about the tablets. Do you have everything in place at the moment? Last time we had some constraints with those, devices.
At the moment, we don't have the tablets. The ones we had for the last census, the midterm, which was in 2021, were borrowed from Kenya. Yeah. And after the census, we returned those tablets to Kenya. And that is the situation as it stands. So we would have to procure our own tablets, all right? This year, we don't want to loan tablets. That is not the idea. The idea is actually to procure tablets, and that is one of the things we discussed even yesterday with the team that came to see ways and means by which we could, procure tablets within a short period of time, because those are certainly going to be very huge procurements, to procure. We are talking about, supposedly we are expected to have something like 29 to 30,000 tablets for the census. So procuring that amount of tablets, getting that set up in a factory somewhere, in the US or in China will take some time, so we are working to find ways and means by which we can be able to get that process fast-tracked.
What's the estimated budget for the census?
Okay, so the budget we presented to the Ministry of Finance was in excess of $33 million. That is what we presented to them, okay? Now we've done a series of tweaks to that budget. It went up, it came down, it went up, it came down, and it came, we didn't want to exceed the original budget. There are things, inflation rates, the way things are going, the budget went up, came down, we had to remove some things, we added some other things. We had a back and forth for almost 2 weeks, and then we still arrived at the $34 million mark.
And where are we in terms of the availability of that money? Has it been made available?
It has not
to
been made.
statistics
It has not been made available, and I'm not even sure that money will be made available en masse or one time. Okay, like the tranche of money, $34 million made available, $34 million made available to just statistics alone at one go. That is not possible. So what would happen? They'll be made available in tranches. However, I'll say the good thing is the Minister of Finance has set up a dedicated account purely for the census at the Ministry of at the Bank of Sierra Leone. That account has been set up. Okay, what we now want to have done is to have finances being cushioned into that account, being placed.
Who's funding this?
Okay, so
I asked because the previous census we had World Bank working with Sierra Leone, and at some point issues emerged, they pulled out. Sierra Leone had to strenuously figure out an option and fund its own census, which was not the usual method for us. So this census, who's funding?
So the government of Sierra Leone is largely funding the census. They have committed, the government is committed to primarily funding the census, okay? That is as a result of the lessons we learned from the last census, where in the middle or the tail end of the census, where we had to pay field staff, we now have to go to the field to do data collection, we have to do a couple of other procurements. Because there were issues back and forth with the environment was so volatile, the World Bank pulled out of the census, okay? All right, so the government said, from my understanding, that they don't want a repeat of that, all right? So they want to champion their own census, they want to take up funding their own the census. Now, that does not in any way mean international partners are not playing a role, okay? They are playing a role, they've played a role. As we speak, UNFPA is actually giving us some money. In fact, when we did the Advocacy, Technical and Publicity Committee, when we set up the statutory committees for the census, the UNFPA actually funded that. They sent some money so that we could actually fund those committee meetings and stuff like that. And a DPAC meeting, which is the Development Committee meeting.
How much was that from the UNFPA?
It was something like, call it 500 million. 500 million, I think, 500 million, about that.
What's the currency?
In Leones, I'm talking about Leones, all right? But then, that is not really the point. The point is, I'm talking about a DPAC meeting where the Ministry of Planning, UNFP and other partners actually are committing finances. As things stand, we cannot ascertain the finances they are committing. I'm pretty sure some of those finances are going to come post this assessment mission, okay? It does not mean it is only government that is going to fund the census, but government wants to be at the forefront of funding the census.
I asked that
Partners
because
can
I
come
wanted
in.
us to come to the next point.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for this census? It's supposed to happen 2025.
Yeah, December.
And we're 11 months away.
Yes.
And the resources are not even around the corner in a bank account waiting to be utilized. What's the time frame? Break it down, the timeline.
All right, okay. So we have critical things to do before you get to the census. One primary thing which no country goes into a census without doing is the cartographic mapping. And that is where you divide the country into small bits of enumeration areas, where enumerators can go and walk, okay? That is to be done, and the timeline for that was to be done somewhere around 4 to 5 months. We have not started that yet, all right? And then we'll now go into the pilot census, where we test all of these instruments, everything that is to be done for the census, and then we now go into the main census enumeration. But even prior to that, we have to do a locality verification where we'll go around and verify all the localities that are in Sierra Leone, okay? Then we have to also do, of course, the procurement of the tablets, other equipment have to be done, communication has to be done, engagement of people have to be done, stakeholders, all of those things have to be done, which as we stand, we have to be very honest with ourselves, we have not started yet, all right? However, critical statutory committees have been set up. The advisory committee, the publicity committee, The technical committee have been set up. We have set up the census secretariat. It has started functioning. All right. What I think we need at this time is just to have the finances coming in. All right.
So how feasible is it that we would hold that census in 2025 with the delay already in the pre-work to be done before the census and the funds not comfortably sitting in an account waiting? How feasible is it that we would accomplish this census this 2025?
It is still very feasible by our estimation if the funds start coming in, because this is a digital census. It's not a paper-based census. So what digitization does, it cuts the processes almost into half. All right. So before this time, we'll do cartographic mapping for a year. Okay. Because what used to happen was, we would give, for example, Fabian will be a staff for the contracted staff for the cartographic mapping. Fabian goes to the field with a paper-based questionnaire, collects data, comes back to the office after collecting the data probably for 2-3 months. And then we now have a team of people who are going to do data entry of that data that is on the paper. Okay, that will probably last another 2-3 months. All right, and then there will now be data processing to actually process that data, clean the data, and then after analysis. But what digitization does is it cuts all that process, because as you collect the data in the field, it is instantly transmitted to the servers. All right, and we have auto cleaning that is already taking place. Okay, so that data entry and data processing that used to take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, that process is completely eliminated with digitization. So we know if the funds coming, we can still be able to do the census this year. However, we have this assessment mission that is also doing an assessment of everything as it stands right now. Okay, they are going to give us genuine feedback. We said, the minister said, the Statistician General said, all the people that spoke, the UN resident coordinator, the World Bank country manager, everybody wants inclusivity for this census, and that is what we all want. Okay, in fact, to tell you how inclusive we want to be and the way everybody wants to be on board this census, when we had this opening meeting, this opening session on Monday, we invited the political parties. All right, major political parties, SLPP and APC. Unfortunately, there is a Sufyan guy who is part of the Sufyan man. Let me don't call it guy. I might look disrespectful. There's a man called Sufyan who is a member of the advisory committee. He was nominated by APC to be part of the advisory committee. So when we sent the invitation, he acknowledged that invitation on the group, and he said he would come. Unfortunately, he didn't come. So we had the SLPP guy that was there represented. There is a Dr. Lai also that is representing SLPP. He was there at the meeting, this session that the partners came for. So everybody picked it up, because after the round of introductions, it was picked up that, oh, we have SLPP here, but we don't have APC. Okay. So yesterday we had a call. I had a call from, I think he's the deputy leader of APC, Ambassador Yansane also. Fore Yansane also called us, telling us that, they were not part of the meeting, and we had to tell him that, okay, you had this guy that was supposed to be there, that actually acknowledged receipt of this invitation, but didn't come. So he was now telling us, okay, we would want to be part of subsequent meetings that you have, and would even want to meet the partners before they go. That is to tell you the level of, camaraderie around the census. Everybody wants to be on board.
But what's the deadline for the funds, though? At what month would you say, if the money isn't forthcoming, it would distort the possibility of even doing the census in 2025? Okay,
so we have to be honest. The process or the timelines are already distorted, because from the initial timelines we had, we have things that should have been done from November. The president made the proclamation in September. We have things that should have been done from November and December that have not been done. For example, we formally have to launch a census. Formally, that has not been done. things, internal, you may call them internal things, but we have to do design of things like the logo, you know, the theme, the slogan, all of these things here and there. These are, you may feel these are small things, but these are the things that drive communication around the census. We've still not done them. Finances are still not available. Okay? All right. So we've already missed some things. Locality verification. We should have gone around and verified all the localities at this time. Those have not been done. So we are still hopeful that even with those we've eaten into on the timelines, we can still be able to go ahead and pull off a census in 2025, December 2025 precisely. But then the funds have to start coming in.
Deadline, in what month do you think should be the latest? We shouldn't go beyond that month without the funds.
I don't think we can go beyond March. I don't think we can go beyond March. All right.
Let's talk about inclusivity as you spoke earlier. Is this inclusivity reflective on the populace? I ask this because during the last census, a lot of people, enumerators, quote unquote, were chased from some homes, you know. Some even faced violent resistances, you know, in some areas. Would things be different this time around?
We are hopeful things will be different. I just gave you a scenario of, you know, the leader or deputy leader of the APC calling us, and we even had a discussion with the partners yesterday that we would actually have them and all the other political parties actually have a discussion, like, you know, some parallel discussions that they would have, you know, before they leave. Okay, so it is no gainsaying that in the last census we had, majority of the discussions we had to that census were political discussions. All right, now the APC was averse to the census. They felt it was a ploy by the government, the ruling government, to steal the elections or impact the elections or something of that nature. All right? So they told their supporters and every other person, you know, that was actually favoring them not to be counted when we had the census. All right? So the resistance was primarily as a result of that. All right, people saying, oh, we don't want to be counted and stuff like that. But as things stand right now, that is not the case. Okay? Everybody is coming on board, and we appreciate and value that, because even for our own work as an institution, it gives us comfort when everybody is on board. And that is the inclusivity we are talking about. So I've been on radio shows, I've been on talk shows with CD Yayachinis of the APC and other people. You know, we saw the support even when the statutory instrument for the proclamation of the census went through Parliament. 21 days, no objection from nobody, ruling as well as opposition parties. That in itself sends a strong message that everybody wants to come on board, and that is what we want. Everybody has to come on board. This is a civic, just as the minister said the other day, it is our civic responsibility to be counted. It is a national exercise. Census is the biggest statistical undertaking in any country, all right? And let me tell you, in fact, what they told us the other day, the partners, and this is actually fact, Sierra Leone is going to be the first country to conduct a census for the 2030 round. We are going to be the first country. So we should, in actual fact, set examples that other countries will come and learn from. Okay? So, inclusivity, ensuring we get everything done properly, that is why you see everybody coming on board. The U.S. Census Bureau have sent a team that are here. United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, they are responsible for all censuses in Africa. They are here, all right? The United Nations Fund for Population Affairs, globally, they actually supervise population affairs and stuff like that. They sent a team from New York. All of them are here. At that meeting on Monday, you saw the UN resident coordinator. You saw the World Bank country manager, all right? So you saw US Embassy sent a representative. Everybody is coming on board because they want us to deliver on a census that would meet international standards, that would be internationally comparable to other censuses, because we are the first.
That being said, during the previous, census again, another thing happened. Just after, the release of the statistic results, the data you collected, a lot of people, not least, well, I'll call them scientists in this case, we are bitterly criticizing the figures. they are somehow repulsive that, the numbers didn't add up. What actually went wrong?
The numbers added up. The numbers added up. So what we presented was what we counted. Now, there were aspersions by people that they don't feel the numbers represented the true picture. Okay? For example, I still remember one thing that was in the minds of people. They said the population of Kenema was greater than that of Freetown. And there was a reason for that. Let's even take away all the statistical analysis and permutations away. Kenema people in Kenema turned up more, allowed our enumerators to count them. The majority of the resistance, the majority of the objection to the census was in Freetown. We don't need scientists to tell us that. It is clear. Majority of the objection was in Freetown and the northern parts of Sierra Leone. Okay, and these are opposition strongholds. Okay, so you could clearly tell why we had that, and you don't manufacture figures. It is what you count that you give at the end of the day. So if people were like, oh, the figures, they are telling that Kenema is more populated than Freetown, this was what we got. Okay, and it was clear that we are going to have figures of that nature. Because if we've gone to your house, or we want to go to enumerate, and our enumerators are being chased with machetes, and people telling them they would kill them, they would this, they would that, safety first. You can be able to, all of us are here, you guys are working for AYV, I'm working for statistics. You know why you guys are here in the first place working? It's because you have a life. If you don't have a life, no sooner you stop having a life, everything about you stops. That's hence your whole existence. So we have to tell our enumerators, if you go to places where you feel the situation is volatile and your life is at risk, safety first. Okay? So now, however, we have come and we've passed that. Okay? The good news is everybody is now on board. We expect 100% cooperation from all facets: the political class, the social class, the economic class, everybody. Okay, we expect 100% cooperation, and that is what we started already to get. All right, from all sides.
Lastly, before Fabian go for sport, also you struggled also with paying these enumerators later on. What's happened?
Okay, so I think Fabian had talked about that. The World Bank pulled out.
Okay.
We had planned to pay the enumerators. It was the World Bank that was to pay the enumerators. Then they pulled out at the tail end. Government was scrambling, to put resources together to be able to pay those people. All right. And unfortunately, there are some people that we even didn't pay. Okay. So that is why the government has said this time, things of that nature that involve payment, that involve critical things, we shouldn't leave it in the hands of donors. We should take it upon ourselves. And we commend the government. We hope and pray fervently that we could have these resources coming in within the shortest possible time.
Have all those enumerators been paid?
I told you just now that we have some people who we are still not paid.
Is it going to be a bad debt, discarded, or would they be paid eventually?
We hope they would eventually be paid when resources are available. All right. However, we've on our part, and when I'm saying some people have still not been paid, does not mean we have a large pool of people that have not been paid. We have, I can tell you, under 50 people that have not been paid. Because what we also did was, we passed on this to the government of the Ministry of Finance. We are bringing in finances and we are paying people in batches. All right. Long after the census, we are paying people in batches, and we've paid a lot of people. That is why you have come.
With that payment pending, how convincing would it be now to recruit more people or new people to work in the new census coming up in 2025? All
right. Okay. So that payment is pending as a result of the fact that government hadn't budgeted for it. All right. Now the government was budgeted for the census, and they've said they don't want to leave that aspect of payment into the hands of donors. All right. And
to that one person still who has not been paid, this excuse does not pass for them.
I know.
How do you now convince other people to come and support the census by working with the census when there's still a backlog of payments?
When you say other people, what do you mean? Partners? Or people that...
Enumerators, people you would call.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
For the 2025 census. If you now have a reputation that Statistics Sierra Leone has not paid the previous enumerators.
I wouldn't say we don't have a reputation.
Yes, you do.
We had a situation.
Until the last person is paid, you now have a reputation that all the enumerators did not get paid. Okay. Some have still not been paid.
So I know that even 1%.
Even 1%.
One person is significant, all right? But here is the situation where we had 20 plus 23,000, besides 23,000 enumerators, and we have paid 24,950, and we have 50 or below. Okay? Now, we will pay them eventually. So that will not be a problem. Secondly, the comfort, as I said, should be the fact that the government has said they are going to handle situations of that nature. All right, so we don't want to leave it in the hands of, we don't want to leave it to conjecture, where it will be a matter of, oh, okay, if you do this, we pay this, if you don't do this, we don't pay this. Government knows everybody that works will be paid. We are thankful, we have to be very thankful to the government for taking the bold step to say we are going to fund the census. It does not mean partners will not commit their finances, or already they've started committing finances, all right, but then a census is a civic and a national exercise. So that is why you have some governments, they don't allow other countries to fund their census. Elections, censuses, they don't allow other governments to fund them or other partners to fund them. It is to be funded by the people of Sierra Leone through the government.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Well, at this point, Eastern Lions Football Club is, one of Sierra Leone's greatest clubs with an impeccable record of winning laurels over the years in their participation in the Sierra Leone Premier League and other even international competitions. Now, the club has commissioned a 52-seater standard team bus for players and technical staff for the league season. While speaking on the importance of it, the club's chairman, Ambassador Anthony Nava Jr., reveals that it's one of their promises that they made as an executive, and they have fulfilled it. He further gave commitment that they will continue to provide all necessary facilities for the players and stressed that all they need from them is the required result for them to be happy as a club. Lansford McLean was in attendance and he now reports.
The official commissioning of a 52-seater modernized team bus for Eastern Lions Football Club served as a positive move under the leadership of Ambassador Anthony Navo Jr. as club's chairman. According to him, it is part of their transformative drive as an executive, noting they will continue to create the enabling environment for the players and as they are positioned of winning the 2024-2025 Sierra Leone Premier League and the Sierra Leone Football Association's Cup.
So today we can unveil with new bus.
We are here purposely to unveil our new 52-seater bus for the team for 2025 league season. We promise that we will continue to develop the club by providing a playing field and a standard bus to play with players across the country. Today we are here with our partner AFRICEL to commission the new bus. We hope that they use it judiciously and they will enjoy the comfort of it. And in return, the team will give us lots of victory. I want to say thank you to the fans for their continued support, and we hope the 2024-2025 Premier League season we will win the Premier League and the Sierra Leone Football Association's Cup.
And we hope say this 2024-2025 season we go win the Premier League and the FA Cup.
How important would the team boss be for these set of players that are being guided by Mohamed Lamin Kamara, head coach of Eastern Lions Football Club, team captain Samuel Kwekubiku and star striker Musa Nwakama, fondly called Musa Tumbo, commended the Lions executive and gave commitments of delivering.
We are here today for an exciting moment of which we've been presented with this wonderful bus, which is the new Eastern Lions Football Club bus. We are very excited, and it's a very good encouragement to the club. I think it came at the right time, and now we are on our way and making sure that we'll put the smiles on our fans' faces. I want to say a very big thank you to the management of Eastern Lions, Chairman Navo, and also the management entirely for this wonderful gift. We are very happy, and we hope that there will be more on their way coming.
We're really happy. We really want to.
I am really happy, and I want to say many thanks to Africell for their tremendous support to us as a club. This means a lot for us as players. We will no longer face constraint for transportation in terms of traveling. The new bus will serve as huge motivation for us.
For really pleasure for make we do a better thing for the club.
Africell Sierra Leone, as a mobile company, served as a lead partner for the commissioning of the team bus and has been provided other development drive over the years for Eastern Lions as Premier League club in the country. However, players and officials had the opportunity to board the bus in their own convenience and took a ride as it shows some form of comfortability. Ransford McLean, AYV Sports, Freetown.
All right, many thanks to Ransford McLean for that report. Well, this is where we'll have to end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. Would like to say thanks to our guests for their time in the program.